Hey everybody, happy Tuesday and happy new release for Admiral BlackTusk. Um, yeah, just a few thoughts about him. Kind of not buying the hype on him so much, so I thought I'd like to just share that with you. So I'm a little bit down here. Um, yeah, so let's get into it. Dwarf dude, um, he's the Unity champ, so I'm kind of pumped for it because I've been waiting for this Unity champ for a while, as well as the Shadowkin, because they're I think they're the last two, but yeah, I'm kind of pumped. So let's go through his kit. The A1, attacking one enemy has a chance to place a stun that eventually gets up to 60%. The This debuff cannot be resisted when the champion is attacking out of their active turn. So if they're in a counterattack, if they are doing a team up, any type of thing like that, then it can't be resisted. So that's pretty neat. So there's a stun. Okay, cool. Things that we need to avoid are block debuffs, stone skin, um, high resistance champs, and there we go. So, okay, kind of cool. A2 goes down to a 3-turn cooldown, removes all debuffs from allies, then teams up and attacks a single enemy. Okay, so Cardiel type, just removing all debuffs is fine. Um, eh, okay. Ally attack dwarf. There's going to be some synergy there. Okay, cool. Uh, A3, the defender of Sky Iron. Awesome. Removes all buffs from a target enemy and places a stun debuff on him for 2 turns. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50%. Fills the turn meter by an additional 10% for each buff removed from the target. This could be big. Okay, so crank up the accuracy because that's what we want for stun as well. Uh, and then we want to get speed too because we want to be able to do that up. So maybe not exactly like 500 speed or anything like that, but just enough for the other team to get some to get some buffs out there, and then this way it fills him up as well. So that's a that's a gnarly turn mechanic there, and it's a 3-turn cooldown. Um, Additionally, the buff removal and stun debuff cannot be resisted if there's a dwarf there. So okay, so scratch that. Maybe accuracy is not needed if you're going to have a dwarf with him. I imagine that's a him. Um, if there's 2 dwarves, resets a cooldown of the skilled when an enemy is killed while under a stun placed by this champion. So he doesn't have to do it, but if somebody else is going to kill him, great. We get that reset. Okay. Allies deal double damage to targets under stun debuffs placed by this champion. I think that's a sexy one right there. Allies dealing double damage. That is huge. 3-turn cooldown on that one with a potential reset. Okay. This is a he's a single target dude. So there's not going to be that many stuns out there at one time. So, okay. His passive. Allies will counterattack whenever they lose 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. Whew. Whoa. Wow. That's the big one. Allies will counterattack whenever they lose 10% of their max HP. That is uh, that is big because how often do we lose 15, 20%, a quarter, 30% or more from a single hit? That's wow. Okay. Whenever an ally places a true fear freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, petrification debuff, fills that champion's turn meter by 20%. Occurs once per skill. That's a huge support. Um, okay, okay. Um, when there's 2 dwarves out there, whenever an ally is attacked, has a 50% chance of placing decreased resistance and a decreased speed debuff on the attacker. If the ally is under block damage, unkillable, ally protection or stone skin buffs, the chance increases to 100%. Okay, decrease resistance and decrease speed. That's pretty awesome. Um, okay. If you have 3 dwarves with you at the start of each round, places a stone skin buff on all allies for 1 turn. Okay, placing stone skin. Okay, um, I'm not really paying attention too much to that last line because really, like in Doom Tower, that's fun. That's fantastic. That could get you there. Curse City, that's fine. But really, I'm thinking about Chimera as an opportunity for him. And the unfortunate thing is, stun is not going to be out there. But I'm thinking about Chimera with dwarves here. So for that counter attack, essentially on the 2 faction allies and that passive, that that that's gnarly to put out 2 debuffs out there, a decreased resistance and a decreased speed. Awesome. I think that's stupendous. I think the A2 of tossing out there the ally attack is neat too. Um, that's pretty neat. Uh, Hydra as well, clan boss would be cool too. But we're not really taking into account the whole stun mechanic then. So stun in PvP is pretty neat too. So when we think about it, who are we bringing in with him, right? Um, yeah, like who are we bringing in? Um, and I can't. Why is this not going through? Um, yeah. Great. Chomsky is not a good editor here, so I'm gonna leave this in. But what what I'm thinking about is, as an ally attacker, who do I want with him? A Trunda would be great. An Underpriest Brogni would be neat too. Um, Cornelia would be neat too. Um, just because that skill cooldown that she could do with her A1. Um, Runekeeper Dazdirk is fun too because he's busting out a leech. A Geo could be fun with decreased accuracy as well as an AoE. So you can maybe get something there. A Frolny would be fun as well. There's a whole lot there, but oh, there we go. So I think there's a whole lot of fun that can be had. Um, a Herndig could be fun too. Especially since this is just an AoE and it kind of messes around with it. We could bust out a decreased defense ahead of time. I think there's a lot there, but when we think about when I think about the Unity champ, I I I look forward to the events that's going to be happening. It's going to be it's going to be a tough one because all Unity champs have their niches. So I'm kind of concerned about the new faction wars when they release it and see what happens there. But I think this guy's going to be solid. He's a nice support. I just don't. I would love it if he busts out a leech in here or maybe a continuous heal. Um, for for what it's worth, I think he's a high B plus, maybe a very low A. Him bringing Stone Skin to each round, that's a fun one if you need it, if you don't have Stone Skin accessories. So that could be good. I like the idea of allies doing double damage to targets under stun. That's going to be nutty. Um, so like we think about against Rhodos would be fun too because Rhodos is stunned, can't really counterattack, and we want him dead. That could be awesome. And he's spirit affinity, so that's a good one. But I don't know. I wish I wish there was another heal mechanic or something like that. And yes, he does have the ability to go again. Um, but yeah, ooh, this would be a rough one. I mean, like you bust out a Herndig decreased defense out there, and then you do an A3 and then an A2 to do that double damage. I would need like typically dwarves don't go that fast. You know, Mountain King is pretty slow at 85. I don't know. Is Samar the fastest at 98? Senna, how fast are you? No, Senna's the fastest at 113. Um, hmm. Senna would raise everybody else's turn meter, and especially on the A1, continuous heal, and fills up their turn meters by 5. So, okay. So you'd have Unity Champ with Senna, Herndig. I like Mountain King just because he smacks so much. Uh, he's very selfish. It's a single target, but that's fine. Trunda's an obvious one. But I mean, it's based on his stuns. So her, like anybody else putting stuns out there, is not going to do the same. So that's interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted. So I have him as a B plus, A minus in that range. Um, yeah, until I see the stats, but it's okay. And then he is bringing a speed up. It's only 15%, and that might be the second speed up here because you got Cornelia at 18% everywhere, and this Unity champ is only 15%. So that's interesting. I don't know. I I'm on the fence here. So yeah, on the fence. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Um, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Take care.